Thanks for sitting for an interview. First off, what's your name and what do you currently work on?
My name is Spencer Ahrens. I'm currently working on React Native stuff, kind of on the border between the JavaScript and the native code.
How long have you been involved with React?
My first introduction to React was with React Native. Jordan and Christopher Chadeau were working on a hackathon prototype. Thought it was pretty awesome and jumped on to help make it happen. And I've been working on React Native ever since. That was about 2 years ago now.
What was your talk on?
I talked about a new animation API that we developed for React Native, and potentially can be extended to like the web version as well. So we'll see how that evolves. But yeah, basically a nice declarative way to animate and do like interactive gestures and things like that in a declarative way that we can then export to the native system and run in a tight performant loop. Cutting the JavaScript out of the equation so it can do heavier computations without potentially dropping frames.
So with React Native, what have been some of the more exciting applications you've seen of it so far?
There's been a lot of community interest, a lot of really cool stuff going on. Internally, we obviously had a bit of a head start since we could use it before we open sourced it. And so the Groups app was a pretty awesome first application, the standalone Facebook Groups app. And then the Ads Manager apps are pretty amazing as well and enabled us to also launch on Android quickly after with a really nice Android experience. There's also really awesome stuff going on with the React Native Playground, like rapid prototyping on the web using simulator running in a data center in the cloud, and then bringing that into the browser so that you don't have to actually set up and run Xcode locally. Yeah, a lot of really cool projects.
Very cool. One question I've heard people have is going from iOS to Android, what percentage of an app might need to be rewritten with React Native?
Yeah, so the example so far, because it's the only Android app we've built up to date, or until now, is the Ads Manager app. And without making it an explicit focus, when they were done, they found out that they had actually reused 87% of their product-specific code that they had written for the iOS version. So it's a pretty heavy overlap.
Yeah, that's very good. What do you see in the future of JavaScript and React, say, over the next couple of years?
I'm really excited about pushing the rendering further down the stack. I think Sebastian Markbaj gave a great talk yesterday about like digging through the layers of the browser and eventually ending up rendering straight to the GPU with like WebGL. I think having that kind of power and also the flexibility of being able to target a whole bunch of different like final rendering targets will be really powerful for React and enable a lot of really like cutting edge performance and complex applications to be built with it.
Overall, most people I've talked to, React has opened their eyes to different ways of thinking about software. Has there been anything in particular that stands out that you've sort of come to understand better about software from your time with React?
Yeah, I mean, it's been mentioned a couple times, but kind of getting back to the roots of functional programming. Like functional was a big deal like 30 years ago, and we're kind of like rediscovering it a little bit, especially in the JavaScript community. So doing things declaratively and functionally, making things easily composable, low zero or no minimal side effects so that it's easy to reason about your code, and then build things together without complex inheritance that leads to a lot of bugs traditionally. And then being able to basically just have the developer tell the system what they want to do, and then having the system do whatever it needs to make that happen in the most efficient way possible. Gives a lot of freedom back to the framework to do cool performance optimizations and stuff like that, and then it takes the burden off the developer and makes it easier for them to just kind of say, I want this to happen, I don't really care how you do it. Makes it so that you can write code faster and more cleanly, and it's a lot easier to diagnose bugs and things like that, and it just makes development more fun.
Awesome. Thank you very much.